And going through the agenda, if everyone on the call could just give a quick introduction of themselves. The majority are the program managers from last year's program, but we'll start with Kathy Henrich, our CEO.
It's pretty easy. Kathy Henrich, CEO. I'm responsible for the mission, which is to inclusively double tech talent in the region in conjunction with our 120 plus members who are fabulous in collaborating to do so.
Thanks, Kathy. And Mike, go ahead and go next.
Sure. Mike Mashik, I'm a director at Inception Health. We're the innovation company for the Medical College of Wisconsin and have participated in reverse pitch MKE now for 2 years.
Gwen from Rockwell.
Hi, I'm Gwen Peters. I'm the innovation leader at Rockwell Automation and led this reverse pitch for Rockwell Automation in the last year. It was our first year.
And we have Ellie and Josh from NM.
Hi, yeah, I'm Ellie Travanti. I am the head of innovation programming for an innovation group at Northwestern Mutual. We started reverse pitch probably 5 years ago now, and we have participated 4 years. So we did take a year off, but so that is me. Josh?
I'm Josh Delzer, lead program manager for the reverse pitch Milwaukee program here at Northwestern Mutual. I follow Ellie's statements that we've been involved for a number of years now and within the tech community as well.
Thanks, everyone. All right, now I'll kick it off to Kathy Henrich and she'll get the presentation started.
All right, so if you want to go to page 3, that'd be awesome. So, reverse pitch Milwaukee, as Northwestern Mutual said, came out of their program and has now been expanded to these other companies that you saw here, as well as West Bend Mutual last year. And, through that process, what we heard is that there's a couple of reasons for why organizations are interested in being involved in reverse pitch. The first one is really to advance an innovation goal. When perhaps there's a challenge in your business that you're trying to solve, or frankly, an opportunity area that you'd like to take advantage of, the opportunity here is to take that challenge that maybe either you don't have internal capacity or you haven't been able to find a solution in the marketplace and get external innovation applied to that challenge in order to, drive revenue, save costs, or, build community in your own organization. But there's some side benefits that come along with that. The first one actually is in your recruitment strategy for talent. Being part of reverse pitch puts you in a distinguished category of being an innovator in the marketplace. Talent wants to go to places that, are solving important challenges in the world. And so by promoting yourself as an innovator, you actually have the side benefit of enhancing your talent brand to recruit talent down the road. And then the third advantage we hear of this process is actually employee engagement. So having the community, your organization involved in the innovation process actually helps drive innovation in this specific area, but in other areas as well. And what many of the organizations have told us is that their teams actually really enjoy getting kind of that outside in perspective that's sometimes very difficult to do as part of a large organization. So the next one, if you go on, Hasmin, is really what is reverse pitch? And some people think about it like a hackathon, et cetera. I would call it a hackathon that really has gone much further than that in building an organization or building a solution to a challenge. So it starts in the same way as a hackathon with a challenge statement of either an opportunity area or a problem within the business. But then it goes and it goes out to the external community of founders, entrepreneurs, et cetera. And they look at that and say, could I either develop that solution and or could I modify something that I already have in my portfolio and adjust that slightly to be able to respond to that challenge to solve that company's that challenge. What comes back is much more, robust than what might see out of a hackathon. Typically, a hackathon done within 24 hours, not real well vetted. This is a 3-month process, and coming back is actually not only the solution but also the marketplace, how they would go about the implementation of it, who the team would be, etc. And so the companies that the challenge sponsors actually are involved in, or actually are the judges, we're not involved in that portion, but are the judges to determine which of those solutions best meets the needs that they were trying to accomplish coming into this. And also, where they have confidence that the team can execute and move forward in helping solve that challenge. And then after the judging, the winning entrepreneurs are actually work with the company to be able to actually develop and refine that solution. And we'll come back to this, but there's real advantages to the entrepreneur because it validates product market fit throughout this process. And leads to potentially a first customer, and at the same time provides value to the challenge sponsors in being able to help solve the problem or challenge that they came into this reverse pitch Milwaukee with. So if you go on real quickly, this could be done by individual organizations, but collaborating has actually had an advantage in our ability to leverage a process once to create scale. So last year, we actually had 265 entrepreneurs that were attracted to this to hear 7 challenges. Ultimately, 21 teams pitched back solutions to those challenges. 30, or I should say proposed solutions to it. 13 of those were chosen to be able to do a full solution to be judged, and 5 winners were selected. So each of the organizations last year that participated did indeed find a winner to solve that challenge. So if you go on to that, what I mentioned earlier is that, you could do this by yourself, very honestly, right? You could set up the process and market it, etc. But we see value in actually working together. There's value both in being able to plug into it at a lower lift than you would have if you tried to establish it yourself. Northwestern Mutual set up the program originally and the processes, and now we've adjusted that to be able to support multiple organizations. We have a full-time program manager on this, and basically Hasmeen, who you met on this call, actually does a lot of the logistics of this, but also a really important role of working with these applicants, vetting the applicants, making sure that the solutions that are being received actually do indeed apply to the problem to be solved. On the flip side, there's also an advantage to the region because this is a fairly unique program across the country. One of the things we saw last year is by promoting it nationally, we were actually able to see interest from a lot of different geographies, from Austin to Atlanta to Chicago to Minneapolis, and here locally. So you're able to take advantage of the shared marketing component of it, both to get a broader group of entrepreneurs who may be interested in helping solve your solution, and then also being able to work together to really raise the image of this and be able to take advantage of both the media digital marketing, etc. So if you go on to this, the timeline is, I said, is actually a longer timeline than you might think of in a hackathon. We actually start now. This is the question and answer. But what we try to do is by the beginning of July, have organizations commit to a reverse pitch process. July through September, the organizations are working on sourcing their challenges that they're going to have, one or more. Some of them have had more. And then be able to create a pitch video that would be presented to showcase to give context to the challenge that you're presenting. In October is when we'll have the reverse pitch launch event, where all of those videos will be shown, as well as the opportunity for the entrepreneurs to start asking questions and understanding that further. And then as you go into the November, December, we have, mentoring that occurs with these companies. They apply at the end of December. They're selected by the companies, the challenge sponsors, in early January in order to prepare for a full pitch back in the February timeframe. So that kind of leaves the kind of outline of that. I think one of the things we've learned in this process is that it does require our organizations to be prepared for the work that's kind of behind the scenes on their own internal side. And so to help with that, Gwen has offered to kind of talk through what kind of time commitment there is to be able to source and vet the challenge statement, as well as then also the companies that respond. So Gwen, I'll turn that over to you.
There are two main roles within an organization who will get involved in reverse pitch: the program manager, which is the role I played, and subject matter experts who will be aligned to particular challenge technology or marketing information. Generally, the program manager starts this process in May to July, getting a sense for the temperature of the organization. Is the organization ready to commit to the process, to the time investment, to the financial investment? And then in the summer, we begin sourcing potential challenges. I would use the rule of thumb. It might take a list of at least 10 possibilities to get one solid concept to move forward with. In the September-October timeframe, you begin pulling in subject matter experts to really understand the details of the business challenge and focus more on marketing, including creation of the pitch videos. In the November timeframe and December timeframe, I found this to be a bit of a slower time as teams were signing up and considering the challenge. Some might reach out with questions to ask, and you take a more active role in helping to recruit entrepreneurs from your network. And then in January, February, it really ramps up as the teams are preparing for the pitchbacks. I will say that the times here are very much a guideline. I think if you ask various organizations, you'll get times and commitments less than this and times and commitments much more. It depends a lot on how many challenges you like to bring forward. There's some efficiency to be gained if you're doing 2 challenges versus 1. It's not double the work, but there are double the number of SMEs and people to involve. Me personally, I did not begin until August, so my time frame was a little bit more compressed, and we decided to put in a little bit of extra work on the pitch videos and involve more people, even involve a customer partner. So we spent a little bit more time there. And I would probably say in the November, December timeframe, I was maybe less than 25% until it got to January, February. Thanks, Kathy.
Thanks so much, Gwen, for lending your voice to this. At this point, is there anything that any of the other program managers would like to add that we haven't covered up until this time?
Kathy, the only thing I might add is that at least for us, like one of the side benefits of this reverse pitch program that wasn't clear to us when we joined was the satisfaction that the subject matter experts would get from participating in the program. So for us in particular in healthcare, over the last couple of years, people have been extremely busy. And a lot of times a program that's introduced like this, people start to feel like, oh, you're putting one more thing on my plate. And the reality for us was very different, where I think if you were to interview our subject matter experts, they would all say that they found a lot of joy and value in participating in the program, getting to work with companies that were pitching. So as you're evaluating participating, I would be mindful of that it can be used as almost like employee retention tool.
That's a really good point. You know, it can be invigorating to get outside perspectives. So thanks so much, Mike, for sharing that. Anybody else?
Sure. So I would say from NM's perspective, it's not just, and we may get into this once the winning founder is chosen, but Northwestern Mutual has had some really good partnerships with the winning companies, where we have actually operationalized the solutions that they've built. So the SMEs very much, I think, wonder what they're getting into at the early stages, but when you have a win, they're very pleased. And the one particular founder is still co-located kind of in our building and is actually potentially spinning up some new business with a different part of the organization. So there's definitely been success.
Thank you so much, Ellie. All right, we'll go on from here. So, great. So the question is, what does it take to participate? And there's really three components of this. There is the prize component. So for the winners of reverse pitch, there is a $10,000 contribution, as well as we've been able to get additional sponsors providing services, et cetera, to the winning organizations. But from a participating challenge sponsor, it requires a $10,000 cash prize if you choose one of the companies as the winner. The second portion of this is the program management and event management component of that. That goes to the coalition to cover our costs of having the program management, to do the national advertising, to pay for things like the events, et cetera, that are part of the program. And the last is an internal cost. Most of the organizations have video capability internally, but the expectation, it's approximately about $2,000 to $5,000 to create the challenge video. And then if you choose to do a pitch back event in person, and that hopefully as we all get out of COVID, you may choose to do that, and that might have a cost associated with it. With that said, because we are advertising this nationally, what we have found is that it actually plays to our advantage to do some of the events virtually, because we get then a national audience to participate. So many of our winners, et cetera, have come from outside the region. So it's approximately $30,000 to participate in the program. So if you go on from this, there are some things like, you must do, like the prize money, the video, and the subject matter experts being involved. But then there are some things you could do if you chose to. So when a reverse pitch originally started, it also had a seed investment that was made into those companies. That has been moved into the optional component. What we've seen is there's just not enough time to totally vet a company and at that point of the reverse pitch. But you may want to invest in them as a seed investment. And I know several of our past participants have received funding from their reverse pitch challenge sponsor. The other thing you could provide is co-locating space. We did get that also provided last year. It was donated through one of the co-locating spaces or co-working spaces. But if you have space on site that you would like to have that organization near you, that might be something that you might want to provide as well. So if you go on to this, you know, I mentioned this briefly earlier, but there's really an advantage to these companies to participate. One of those advantages to the reverse pitch companies is the mentorship that they gain. It really does accelerate product market fit and product market validation because of the industry knowledge of the subject matter expertise or subject matter experts that you're bringing into the equation. Therefore, it accelerates that first part of their business journey, of new business journey, and creates this network of mentors. It also creates deep connections that could lead to a customer relationship. And I think Ellie mentioned that earlier. We also, though, provide promotional opportunities for those finalists and winners as well, to be able to, you know, to get into the media is a big deal when you're a startup. And so being promoted is also a real advantage to them. And of course, the cash is always helpful as well. So, you know, this is an opportunity to accelerate their business. And that's really the reason that they participate. So if you go on to the next one, I'm not going to go into these in detail, but they'll be in the package that you receive. These are some of the challenges that have been done in the past. So you can start to understand the opportunity areas that are being looked at, from, you know, community health literacy to, you know, how do you better identify in-field devices? And we have the next one as well, but we'll skip over that and just go into the, you know, what we've seen. And what we've seen is that this has been a successful way of helping organizations accelerate their business while also solving problems. So the first two, Social Leads and Pythonic, have the longest runway. But what's interesting is Pythonic, while a 2018 winner, also won 2 of the challenges in 2021. And so this can be something where a company has a technology and they leverage that technology to pivot it into a different industry challenge to go solve you know, to go help find, you know, industry verticals as well. So as we go, I think last one is really any questions that anyone might have, or to any of the challenge sponsors, if you have any additional comments you want to make.
I can share one point about one of the challenges that we sourced last year. We had tried in several different ways to do as a company before landing on the reverse pitch model. We first tried an internal development, and we realized we didn't want this particular topic as a core competency. And then we tried going through a third party and realized, gosh, that's really expensive, and we still have to provide all of the thought leadership for it. And then we landed that reverse pitch made a lot of sense because we could have a closer partnership and a solution really tailored to us, but we didn't have to own the technology. We didn't have to own the responsibility of staying at the top of the market in the space.
Gwen, that's a great point. Thanks so much. Any others?
I think there's something to be said that, you know, participating in programs like this, Kathy, is really important for the local community as well as the startups, because at the end of the day, it's really a minimal, small investment that you're making to help build the startups and the founders community to help spur that growth. And the value that you get by being a part of it and getting to work with these founders to create potential solutions really is unmatched for the most part, because when you make those connections, you're not just making it for your business case, you're making it for the founders that can essentially build the economy past what we're doing together.
Thank you so much. Okay. Well, with that, I want to thank all of the challenge sponsors that have worked with us over the last couple of years. Obviously, you know, what I find wonderful is the fact that they're so committed to this process, that they're willing even to help us invest in time, not to tell this from a, you know, a nonprofit perspective or a support organization perspective, but from those that are really going to benefit. So I can't thank the challenge sponsors enough.